Welcome everybody to our webinar today at Taijutsu for secure caller verification with ServiceNow and Okta. I appreciate people coming and hope you have a good time. We'll try and make this entertaining. A little bit about myself. I'm Identity Access Management Specialist and developer at Taijutsu here. I've been at Taijutsu for quite some time. I've been doing development on Identity Access Management since about 2007. And IT for a lot longer than that, developer and on the Caller Verify pending project, as well as integration with ServiceNow. And then outside of work, I enjoy traveling, family time, and biking, both the motor kind and the non-motor kind. So welcome everybody. It's a bit of an agenda for today. We're going to go through a bit of an introduction of who we are and what we do, as well as kind of some real world consequences of what can happen when you've got inadequate security and security verification methods. And we're going to talk about some of the challenges with traditional verification methods and what that looks like and some of what those are. Put those out in the open, exploring some secure call verify methods with ServiceNow, with the ServiceNow interface, and that'll be some live demos with some demo videos. Yeah, so Taijutsu, who are we and why are we called Taijutsu? So in addition to being an IAM expert, Tracy Neidholt, who our CEO and founder, also happens to be a black belt. So during her studies in Japan, she learned that Jitsu means skill in Japanese. So Taijutsu, or technical skills, seem to be kind of both fitting what we do and our personalities. And so our tech ninjas are essentially ninjas that move and act without being seen or noticed. And we aim to take that practice to our identity access management solutions. So our goal is to provide you and our clients with an identity management solution that is seamless, transition, and causes as little disruption as possible to your own workflow and your clients and your workflow, as well as a modern definition of ninja kind of expands to include anybody who excels in any particular skill or activity. So at Taijutsu, we consider this is in our hiring process, as well as all of our Taijutsu ninjas have 10 plus years of experience in the field of identity access management. So making us kind of a niche and best case scenario for helping you get that project on the go. So help desk, why are we here? What are we talking about? How do you know that the callers that are calling into your help desk are who they say they are? Right? How can you do that? Traditionally, we've got some methods of doing that and asking questions and things like that. We'll get into a little bit more detail on. And then what can we do to satisfy that requirement to verify help desk callers? In a secure, authenticated, and quick manner. It's both easy for the customer and the workforce calling in, but also great for the agent on the other side. So it has a best case scenario to be able to help people as fast as they can. So we'll talk about a little bit about what's happened, with some of the challenges and things with current methods of verification. So we're all familiar with the MGM data breach, which is an amazing example of what can happen when you've got employee impersonation attacks, and $100 million USD breach as the result of a help desk impersonation attack. So that's somebody who is impersonating an employee, calling into the help desk, using things like publicly available information, likely from social media, company websites, to be able to coerce the agent to process the authentication, process MFA resets, things like that, through knowing that personal information. And that's stuff that can be easily gathered from multiple sources. And we'll talk a little bit more about what those sources are, some of those questions as well. So scattered spider attack was kind of one of the things that was used multiple times and very successfully to be able to social engineer and attack help desk systems. The FBI and the CISA government sites have some great articles regarding scattered spider, and we'll do a far better technical explanation that I won't get into detail in this webinar, but those are some great resources that we'll put in the chat for you to be able to look at their PDF on scattered spider, as well as their cybersecurity advisory with regards to that as well. Some of the things to think about with regards to scattered spider are that they're considered experts in methods of social engineering techniques and phishing, as well as things like MFA fatigue and push bomb, where they'll consider, repeatedly trigger those verification methods so that you can get somebody coerced into doing the authentication, as well as things like SIM swaps and the like. So they're very versed in that. That's their expertise. And so we'll talk about what we can do kind of to help mitigate those. So what are the challenges? Challenges of these security questions. So we talked about legacy and the existing verification methods and what that is. We'll talk a little bit more about detail here. So we're looking at traditional security questions, which are things that are inaccessible. So that means things that our memory or visually impaired customers have difficulty with. So questions that are being asked, as an example, some of the 20 questions, mother's maiden name, spouse's date of birth, things like that. When was your anniversary date on your invoice? When did you get your card? All sorts of different things like that, which are definitely hard to understand. And for some people, who are visually impaired, might be hard to read off of paperwork and things like that. And you don't want things laying around. So frustrating. Customers can't recall some of those complex details that they're being requested to do. They're insecure, so questions can be easily guessable, and especially available through social media, online profiles, or in some cases, printed directly on consumer bills that are mailed to their house. So when you've got situations of family members that are committing this fraud or committing these sort of challenge social engineering for getting into accounts, they have access to that information very readily within the household. So these are also time consuming. So extending your call handle times significantly, right, through spending additional time asking callers multiple questions and trying to determine that who's on the other end is who they said they are. Right, so that's frustrating and time consuming for the agent to be able to go through that. It's also frustrating for the caller as well. Above and beyond all that as well, some of those questions are static and never change. Things like regularly include static pins, the 4-digit pins that are never changed. And it also costs money with regards to having those agents as well go to the ability to actually go through the questions and spend a lot of time doing that. And then proprietary knowledge, storing that information. What do you do with that? You've got all those questions and answers stored somewhere. It's also easily exfiltrated, right? So when somebody gets into a system, if that data is sitting there to be able to ask questions, then it's certainly much easier to be able to grab that information when it's sitting there. Okay, so what is the solution? So Caller Verify, which is a patent-pending solution that we have, is a SaaS solution that extends Okta's verification factors to verify callers to your help desk or call center, and it can be done within the ServiceNow interface, right? So we'll talk about and we'll look at a demo of what that looks like within the ServiceNow interface, and we also have potential integrations for things like ChatV and IVR integrations as well. So we're entering a new era of caller verification and secure, quick methods. These are better, right? So end users are already using these MFA methods. Why not reuse those same factors when they're calling into the help desk? They leverage these Okta MFA factors when they're logging into websites, mobile applications. So we can leverage all of the Okta MFA factors, verify push, TOTP, other TOTP factors, Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, other more secure factors, things like YubiKeys, security keys, and biometrics. So there's a consistent message. It's easier and more understandable for somebody who's using those factors day to day to interact with your websites to be able to use those same factors when they call into help desks. So what we're going to look like now, we're going to talk about a live demo for a positive use case. So a positive use case, in this case, callers calling in, they are who they say they are, and then we'll go and take a look and see what that looks like. So as you can see, I'm in the ServiceNow interface, and this is where we've integrated our Caller Verify product. I'll talk about the positive use case, and I'll actually ask my colleague AJ to help kind of go through this process and do a little bit of role play so we can see what that looks like. We're going to answer a phone call. So AJ is calling into the help desk. He's got some action that he wants to perform on his account. And so we'll take it away, AJ.
I'm calling. I need to reset my password, please.
Great. That's awesome. Thanks, AJ. I'm going to just start a ticket for you. In order to process this ticket, we're going to actually be able to verify you with your factor that's on your account. So I'm going to look up your account. And if you can confirm your email address for me, please.
Sure. My email is aj.palmer@takejitsu.com.
Great. Thank you. So I've got a verification method here on your account. So I'm going to go through the verification method. As you can see, we've got caller verification integrated directly into the ServiceNow interface. So I don't have to go anywhere else. I can verify the caller directly within ServiceNow. And as it comes up, you can see that it automatically looks up AJ's account based upon the information that's in the incident. And from here, I can go into the actions and I can verify the caller from any one of the verifying methods that he's got enrolled on his account. Or if I wanted to do it very quickly, we've got a quick verify here that allows me to do a common factor verification using Okta Verify Push. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a verification, AJ, to your phone. And those verifications are behind device biometrics, whether it be fingerprint, Face ID, things like that, pins. So they're secure on those devices. So even those devices are in the same household as somebody else. AJ is going to get that verification on his phone. He'll be able to say, yes, it's me, no, it's not. Just a quick, simple, and secure verification method to know that I'm speaking directly to AJ and he's in possession of that factor. So as you can see, the caller verification has been succeeded, verified successful. Thank you, AJ. I can see that that's been verified. If I scroll down now, I can see that in the caller verification section of the incident, I can see AJ was verified, how he was verified, the verification was completed and what time it was completed at, and who did the verification. So now that that's verified, I can proceed with the password reset. And I don't even need to go directly into the Okta UI. I can do it directly from the action here. I can do a password reset and do either a self-service reset email or a temporary password directly from this interface. Thanks, AJ.
Thank you.
So now that we've talked about that positive use case, we'll go back here. One of the other things that we talk about as well, and one of the things that comes up is, what if it's somebody that's not AJ calling in, right? So we've got a caller that's pretending to be AJ. He's been able to, through his LinkedIn and profile, he knows who he works for. He can reasonably guess his email address to be able to talk about entering an email address. So as a negative use case, we'll look at what that looks like. And I'll get you, AJ, to do the verification as well, or reject it, and we'll talk about that. So in an incident, if I do the same process, we still have Verify installed here. I go through the password reset, do a phone call. The person who's on the other line says that they are AJ. So I can still look up AJ's account. They can verify his email because they've been able to get it from his LinkedIn profile. If I do the verification, now when I do the verification, AJ himself could be either having dinner, he'd be going out for a walk, could be at work, and he's going to see this verification come up in his phone, and he will know that he's not actually on the phone with an agent or not calling in somewhere, and he's going to have the opportunity to, on his phone, to reject that verification, right? So we'll be able to see on this interface here that AJ's rejected the verification, and then I'll be able to take it from there and process either through my business rules whether or not I'm going to flag his account for fraudulent activity, follow up with him individually, and try and contact the actual user. So AJ, you get your hand up.
Oh, no, sorry. I think that was my mistake. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, yeah, no worries. So that negative use case, we know that we're not talking to AJ. AJ's rejected that. He's not on the phone with us right now. So then I can process that with the business rules and flag his account for fraudulent activity. Now that we've seen the positive and the negative use cases directly in the ServiceNow interface, just briefly before we go on to looking at what anti-phishing resistant verification looks like, I'm going to talk briefly about the interface for configuration, some of the business rules that can be applied to these verification methods. So if we look at some of these configurations here, for Caller Verify, we've got nice business rule configuration here. I want to be able to create a business rule to say that these particular incident contact types require verification so that we can force that into the interface and use that to drive our business rules for caller verification. So there's a bunch of configuration options here, as well as being able to hide the verification button once the verification has been done, and that way preventing re-verification or verification using a separate interface or a separate person, right? The other thing that's interesting here that's really good to know is that if AJ's calling in and he's either lost his phone or doesn't have access to it anymore, from a workforce standpoint, I can actually get AJ verified by talking to his manager and doing a third-party verification from his manager's device, right? So I can pull that information directly from his Okta profile and do a verification directly with his manager for AJ's account. All right, and then that will be directly indicated in the ticket as a verification status that was doing a delegated verification. Next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at a quick demo video that talks about phishing resistance. And in this video, we're going to see a ServiceNow integration as well as the phishing resistance factor. And then we'll be back.
In this video, we will show you how you can leverage phishing resistant verification factors, such as Okta FastPass and device biometrics, to verify callers at the help desk or call center. First, we start by creating an incident in ServiceNow and provide the description outlining the reason for the call. Then, we search for the caller and choose the appropriate contact method. Clicking on the Verify Caller button in the ServiceNow interface automatically searches for the caller and presents the Caller Verify interface. In addition to the standard Okta Verify push and OTP code verification methods, we are provided with an additional option to verify the caller using a phishing-resistant factor. In order to verify a caller using Okta FastPass or device biometrics, we need to get a verification link to the caller. We can deliver this link in a number of ways, including simply displaying the link to the help desk agent who can read it to the caller, delivering the link via email or SMS to the email or phone attributes registered in Okta, or we can trigger an external webhook to deliver the link. Once the verification is triggered, the caller receives the verification link directly from a Slack bot. The caller simply clicks on the Verify My Identity button and is redirected to Okta to complete the verification process. Here, the caller is using Okta FastPass to complete the verification process. Once their identity is verified, the agent receives a confirmation that the caller is indeed who they say they are. Want to learn more about phishing-resistant factors and Caller Verify? Book a demo today.
Great. So that's what it looks like from a phishing-resistant factor side. So Caller Verify outcomes. So what can you expect when you're using caller verification within a ServiceNow interface or a standard-line SaaS product? So some of the things is a better caller experience. So eliminating that frustration of annoying security questions, both from the agent side and the caller. So it's frustrating answering those questions and taking that. A better call center agent experience because they can spend less time verifying the callers and more time actually helping them so they can help more people, which leads us to reduced average handle times, reducing verification and oftentimes to 30 seconds or less. We've got some case studies where verification for typical legacy verification takes upwards of 10 to 15 minutes to go through that process, rather than pulling that information directly up into the interface and then doing the verification and taking less than a minute. It's more secure. So you've got NIST recommendations for things like push verification that go directly to the caller's cell phone, and they're behind device biometrics, right? So then they're using those more secured assertion verification methods. And that's a unified verification. As we talked about before, the caller is using these factors directly interfacing with your websites or applications. And so it's a familiar process for them to use those same factors when they call into help desks. Some of the compliance results and the compliance. In summary, we looked at increasing the customer satisfaction from a standpoint of the agents and the callers calling into the help desk. Better employee satisfaction. They can help more people. They spend less time actually trying to verify who they are, more time actually getting to the meat of helping them. It's secure. You're using higher assurance factors. It's reducing the call times. So you're doing verifications in less than 30 seconds a lot of the time, instead of 10 to 20 minutes. It's unified verification. It's a consistent brand across all of your presence, online, mobile, and the call center. And it's a quick ROI. So you're saving time and money through all of those processes, right? Being able to process and help more people. Well, awesome. I really appreciate the attendees and people that came today, and I appreciate you spending this time with us today to talk about ServiceNow and caller verification and secure and quick. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending. I hope you have a great day.